So over the years, we've been attending every Sunday, and we welcome many different people along the way. In the early days, as I mentioned, Alicia had a lot of ideas of how to develop the space, so we put a lot of time into building the beds, the compost area, and fixing the shed, and generally just making the space available to plant and grow vegetables and to spend time in. Witnessing the space go from strength to strength over the past few years has really been a huge honour, and a lot of us are very proud of how much we've achieved. The process of planting a seed and caring for it until it fruits is something that many people and do not have the pleasure to witness. It takes a lot of time and effort to cultivate a garden, but the fruits of this labour, which have included long-lasting friendships, education, sustenance, health, memories, and much, much more, has really made it worth it.
Cool, yeah, I couldn't agree more. So how did my participation come about? Well, firstly, I've always enjoyed gardening. My first job was actually, I did enjoy gardening. I tended to my neighbour's garden where I could just waddle in my own thoughts, do some self-processing and reflection, almost like a human MOT. It was only really when I became cognizant in climate change issues that I thought, actually, this is a great opportunity to not only sustain myself, but also to have a positive impact on the planet. But much like most people, the thought of growing whole ways my own food only kind of stayed as a nice thought. It was when I had an initial discussion with my stepmom about why I become vegetarian that I decided, hey, let's make a change. She said to me, to be honest with you, Willem, going vegetarian is a great idea, but actually it's probably all in vain if you're still flying a lot of your grains from South America and also you're flying your apples from Tanzania. And I thought, wow, this isn't actually mutually exclusive. I can localise my own produce and my own crops and be vegetarian at the same time. And this is when I had a complete light bulb moment. From there, lots of sort of lucky pieces fell into place. Firstly, meeting both Eva and Alicia on the allotment, and also having the opportunity to talk to the university about having funding and allocation. I think also the three of us having a drive, a resilience and a passion together really helped sustain it. And also a huge shout out to the volunteers that have all brought a passion and a desire to the Allotment Society and have really helped us from day one. I believe the main reason for success of the allotment has been in our ability to bring together a multitude of people. I believe this is the reason because gardening can be whatever you want it to be. It can be being an awe around the nature, it can be able to socialise and engage in both nature and also your fellow volunteers, or also just the enjoyment of nurturing and producing your own crops.
As Willem mentioned, it's no secret that a lot of the food that we eat today is flown in from all different corners of the globe. Fresh and dried foods are imported, and a lot of so-called fresh fruit and vegetables have actually been picked many weeks ago and were grown using pesticides. We normally only see one breed of fruit or vegetables in the supermarket. However, many common vegetables like kale, squash or cauliflower actually have many different varieties which we do not enjoy. Vegetables which might be wonky or misshaped do not make it to the supermarket shelves, and this creates a massive amount of waste. It's estimated that over 80% of tomatoes that are grown do not even get eaten. We know that the agriculture industry wreaks havoc on natural habitats, biodiversity, contributes hugely to greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, human displacement and climate change. For centuries, humans have grown their own food, but now a lot of it is mass-produced and commercialised. A lot of the time, we do not even think about where the food that we eat comes from. By taking ownership of our own food systems, we feel empowered and self-sufficient. We do not rely on harmful global supply chains, and we enjoy a wide variety of crops which have been grown locally. We've even been able to grow crops that would typically enjoy warmer climates like chilies and tomatoes in our polytunnel. We've also been able to grow maize, beetroot, artichokes and much, much more. We're always looking into ever more sustainable practices, working with the land and promoting healthy soil and biodiversity through permaculture. By putting in the hard work of caring for the life cycle of a vegetable, which includes preparing the land, planting it, watering it, and harvesting it gives us a sense of life which is unparalleled in a lot of modern day society. Just last Sunday, we enjoyed a delicious meal cooked by our teammate Che on the fire. He used chard and chilies, which we'd picked from the allotment. And over the summer, we enjoyed many meals from our produce. Once, we even had a meal that had over 10 different types of vegetables and salad in it. The feeling of picking something that you've grown yourself and then eating it within less than an hour is really so special and exciting. If we're going to seriously tackle climate change, we need to localise our food production and we need to reconnect with the land. By educating more people that such practices do not involve great sacrifice, but can actually offer a lot of enjoyment and nourishment, we can reduce our environmental impact, sustain communities and promote better mental health. I'll pass it over to Willem to speak more about the health benefits of the allotment.
Thank you. It also goes without saying that this hobby has a great impact on our mental health and our well-being, and the data backs this up. It reduces depression, it reduces anxiety, it lowers your blood pressure, and it also increases your feeling of responsibility, of purpose and of self-worth. The camaraderie of our group is something so special. There's such an enjoyment in being able to come together and to experiment with new seeds, new ideas and new projects. For me, the greatest pleasure I get whilst gardening during these projects is in the parental connection that we have when we are the sole provider and also carer for a bunch of crops. Watching and nurturing this alien-looking seed and seeing it germinate and then flower and then eventually, hopefully, have enough produce to be able to cook up some nutritious meals is one of the greatest feelings that I've certainly ever had. I feel great stimulation also in being able to consistently problem solve during the growing process, embarking in some self-education and doing some research into new growing techniques, and also about permaculture and engaging in how naturally or traditionally we've grown and how we can now incorporate better organic growing. And this all adds to this great sense of achievement. And it's this relationship, I believe, which is the really sort of pure bond between seeds and yourself in essence, which then gives you this feeling of this purpose, this responsibility and this self-worth. And I believe that this self-worth feeling is probably why community allotmenting will be or can be the best form of therapy. This was exceptionally prevalent for us during the initial lockdown of 2019, where we quickly realised that we were probably going to be stuck in a terraced house for the foreseeable future. So having the allotment allowed us to refocus our energies and responsibilities into gardening. With the warm weather in March, I was able to germinate some plants. You can see in the top left we had plenty of sort of squashes and kale, etc. in a homemade greenhouse. You can kind of see the rubber mattress was able to permeate the heat from the radiator, and then where the camera is was a bunch of tin foil to reflect the sun. So we had sunlight from both sides. And we also did some creative projects. So Eva, for example, made and painted this beautiful Beckett allotment sign, and also made like a herb spiral. Tor made this bench that the two of us are sat on, and both Tor and I built a willow arch, and this willow arch stands proud at the front of the site of our allotment, which just gives me and Tor, to be fair, everyone, this great feeling of that was a dark time, that was dark days, but actually every day has got positive nature or positive elements when you're growing your own fruit and vegetables. So I think at the time at the allotment during the pandemic really exemplified to us that increased responsibility, purpose and this self-worth was the greatest antidote to the anxiety of the times.
A key challenge which we've faced is that the student calendar falls over winter, and a lot of the growing season and harvesting spans over spring and summer. So unfortunately, when we are picking a lot of the vegetables, a lot of students will be at home or away. But we are looking to overcoming this challenge next year by working with EcoSoup with some of the new equipment they have to sterilise jars to make jams and chutney, and also looking into exploring new preservation techniques like dehydrators, so that the students that have put a lot of time and effort into the allotment will be able to enjoy some of the fruits of their labour. Working together with like-minded people on a project is a great way to socialise and get to know each other. We practice team building skills, especially in the construction of our polytunnel. Many of us came together to work out how to put it up. Also, the allotment has allowed for individuals' passions and talents to thrive. Some people are more interested in painting, others in building, others in cooking or gardening. We have had this place to explore creatively many different projects, and many members of the team are also folk musicians, so we've enjoyed listening and singing songs around the fire.
Yeah, excitingly, there is so much potential for the space to grow, and it'll be shaped by those that join us on this journey. Long-term goals include building an outside cooking area, doing an irrigation system, welcoming some more speakers, doing some mushroom cultivation, wood chipping the pathways and continuing to paint the beds. So much to do, really. Our students, after learning so much at the allotment and about permaculture, have branched out into wider sustainability circles, groups and careers in the city, including Meanwood Valley Farm, conservation volunteers, running small talk clinics for those with autism at community allotments, and lastly, the campaign to save green space in London. So a final point from us: don't leave addressing climate change to supermarkets, localise your food by being the change that you want to see to improve your health and the health of the planet. So join us on site and follow our Instagram to stay updated.
Thank you so much.